Hello everybody, this is Fernando for the latest Cryptids and Monsters video. Alright, let's go ahead and we'll talk about another suggestion here. This one based on one of your newer suggestions, so back to the new ones for this one. And the reason I picked this one is because in terms of its location, I think it's a first one for me. I haven't recalled talking about Egypt with regards to any of my past videos. So in this case, when I saw this information, I knew I just had to pick it out for everyone here. Also because I just did a recent video dedicated to my cat and all you cat lovers out there, the Nunda. So in this case, I wanted to focus on one also involving dog lovers. So there's always going to be cat lovers, but there's also dog lovers out there too. So that's why I wanted to showcase this one. And it has to do with this very distinct looking dog-like cryptid. Right off the bat, you'll notice some very key characteristics of it. It's called the Salawa. And again, it's a cryptid that's found within certain parts of Egypt. So let's go ahead, let's talk about all the interesting information associated with this creature. So what is this Salawa? Well, again, it's a creature that, at least if you base it off of Egyptian mythology, it's been around for a long, long time. I mean, those drawings, the ones that you see, the murals, the hieroglyphics, whatever is the case, there, and some of the Egyptian murals, I mean, they have characteristics of the same thing, and I'll focus on that more here in a minute. But it's found there in Egypt, various parts of Egypt. It's been found, especially in some cases, by villagers. Those being attacked by this creature too. As far as its characteristics, what it looks like, it's your average dog, a skinny looking dog, more slender, more greyhound like, but for some very distinct features. Number one, look at the ears for it. These ears pretty much stand on end, very, very straightforward, very erect, and at a very sharp angle. Each one, in other words. So I don't know if it's just evolution or if it's something else different, but these ears are always supposed to be standing upright, which makes it seem very distinct. Because when you look at your average dog, I mean, of course some dogs have those ears standing upright too, but for the most part they lean downward. That's the notion, the usual depiction of dogs. But in this case, those ears are going to be either triangular, standing upright, or in some rare occasions, they have square-like features on them too. And the way that they look like is they go very, very wide towards the end of the ear, but then very narrow towards the bottom of the ear, closer to the head. And then the next most distinct part of this thing is its tail. Very, very similar to its ears. It is always erect, always standing straight up, and in some cases it seems to have an almost fork-like ending, like the tongue of a snake, in other words, how it splits into a fork. Same concept here with regards to its tail. And even when it's sitting, even when it's sleeping, even when it's standing, this tail is always going to be pointing straight backwards. So that also makes it very, very distinct. You would think that it would be almost like an inconvenience for this creature, but no, it seems like with the Salawa, that is its natural state when it comes to its tail. The only other thing that really stands out about this creature is it's supposed to have a really long nose, like a really long, abnormally long, longer than you would see on your average dog, and then it's usually as depicted as being as black in terms of its fur color, but in some rare cases it's known to have a reddish color too. Now, as far as the Egyptian mythology, again, I talked about that and just highlighted it just briefly a couple minutes back. So yes, it's supposed to be a creature that's been around for a long time, thousands of years. Again, if you base it on these hieroglyphics or these drawings here, you'll see that it shares the very same characteristic with these particular hieroglyphics. So that's almost fascinating to share. It makes you wonder which came first. Like, was it truly the dog or whatever this thing is, the Salawa, or was it the whatever this thing is within the hieroglyphic itself? Because someone else has suggested in the past the dog-like people from Egypt, and so this may be something that I'll talk about in the future. But at least in this case, which came first? Was it these dog-like people, or was it the Salawa itself that influenced it? And then more recent encounters Yes, even in the 1960s up until the 1990s, stories have run about in Egypt, especially from the villagers, being attacked in remote parts of southern Egypt specifically. So these things, these Salawas, they either attack themselves by themselves or in pack groups, which is more likely. And in those cases, they'll just hunt whoever they find as a victim. In some cases, cause very severe injuries, and then in rare cases, cause death outright. So this is not a creature to play around with necessarily. It is, for all intents and purposes, a wild dog. Those are the ones that you see out about, let's say, in the desert or out about in remote areas here in the U.S. And when that happens, they look friendly like any other dog would, but they're not going to be tamed animals. No, in this case, they're completely wild, so you definitely have to make certain that you are very careful coming across this thing. There's even the notion, too, that showed Destination Truth on Sci-Fi Channel. Apparently, they filmed something involving this Salawa, but upon closer inspection, it seems like it's something else, more real life in this case, which I'll talk about now. So another, as far as the Salawa and the encounters with it, there may be a chance. Who knows? It could be its own cryptid, but in some cases there may be the chance that it's a misidentified animal, much as there has been with a lot of the other past cryptids I've talked about. And in this case, it would be this. You're looking at it now, this fennec fox. So maybe from a distance, maybe even in silhouette, from afar, this creature, this fennec fox, could look like the Salawa itself, and you can see where that mistake comes from, because especially look at the ears. They're very large, they're held at an angle, and when you see that, and again keep in mind you may even see it on a silhouette only, it does look like the triangular or almost squarish ears that are famous for the Salawa. And then also the fur, look at the fur itself. It does have that reddish hue, which matches some of the rarer circumstances of people finding the Salawa as well. So adding 2 plus 2, it does make sense that in some cases this fennec fox may be misinterpreted as Salawa, but that still doesn't explain all the other circumstances that people have come across here, let alone in this case the thousands of years that this thing has been known for in existence too. So, but just another angle when it comes to this Salawa. But that's it. That's pretty much all the info to give with regards to this creature. Again, for all you dog lovers out there, even if this creature is not going to be necessarily something to pet out in the wild, at least still it's a video I love to share for all you dog lovers out there. Does anyone have any more info? Anyone been to Egypt? I know that there's pictures every now and then that I see on Facebook of people posting those rare pictures they take in front of the Great Pyramids. If anyone has been out there before, anyone heard of this legend of the Salawa, that would be really great to hear. If anyone has any, I guess, any other circumstances, I don't think anywhere else outside of Egypt this creature has been found, but if anyone knows any other locations or other circumstances, that would be good to hear too. So alright everybody, thanks again as always, take care.